Really?
All right, welcome out to the Pirates Cove Podcast. This is episode 15. I have my sidekick, the Z-Man, Johnny Zavala. Johnny, how you doing?
Doing good.
All right, so we're back. We want to talk some softball this evening. We want to put some closure to the season for our RF Lady Pirates softball team. Johnny and I were pretty consistent all year long and coming up on the podcast every Wednesday and talking about the girls and their season. And we were even able to get just pretty much all of the girls on this year on an interview. So just about all the girls were invited, I believe, but some of them couldn't make it. But we got most of them on the podcast. We were able to interview them, talk to them, kind of let our community know our girls, who they are, positions they play, classifications, and just overall, just how they started with softball. I had a great time, Johnny. It was interesting talking to the girls. Of course, we have 4 seniors on the ball club that will not be back next year. Pitcher Sierra Galvan, catcher Mikey Dominguez, shortstop Maddie Mann, and outfielder Lydia Zavala will not be back with us next year. They were seniors. It'll be a great loss for our team. These girls all 4 of them have been on the varsity since their freshman year. And it's going to be a big loss for them. But we've got some underclassmen, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen that will be back next year. And I anticipate, Johnny, that we're going to be making another run at the district title next year. And we'll be back in the playoffs is what I'm seeing. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on the podcast. Right now, I'm going to pass it over to Johnny. He's going to kind of break down the last series, the third round playoff that we had with Boerne. Of course, we came out not on the side that we wanted to, right? We went to the third game. We fell short of the expectation of the state game. Our expectation was to be the last team standing. That did not happen. But these girls had a great season into the third round. They were district champs. And they also had a 17-game win streak throughout the season. So to me, it was still a successful season. So I'm going to pass it over to Johnny, let him break down the third round playoffs. And then Johnny's also going to be talking season stats, home runs, batting averages, hits, and so forth and so on. So Johnny, I'll pass it over to you and we'll get started breaking down that third round playoff with Boerne.
All right. So the first game, everybody was pumped. It was exciting. Third round of the playoffs, something that Rockport don't ever see much. We came in there and I gotta admit, Boerne came out on fire. There was the visiting team. I think that's the way this whole series went, is whoever was visitors was jumped ahead and took advantage of that team, the leads. I mean, it was momentum, started off the momentum on their side. We lost our game 9-0. Was our first shutout for Rockport that game against Boerne. Sierra Gavan took the loss. She went 6 innings, allowing 11 hits, giving up 7 runs, striking out 9, and walking 1. I think what hurt us was that fifth inning. Boerne scored 4 runs in that 5th inning that kind of put a little shocker to us. I mean, it punched us in the mouth pretty well. From there, it was just pretty hard to catch up. I mean, that team was hitting good. I mean, they were on point. As far as the offensive side for us, Mikey Dominguez went 2 for 3 and a stolen base. Overall, the team, we only had 5 hits. Good thing is we only struck out 2 times. A lot of those hits, we didn't get much, but it just seemed like our hits weren't falling where they should have been falling. We were hitting straight to them, pop-ups here and there, ground balls that should have been through the infield. I mean, it's just, our luck wasn't there that game. It was just not, we were just flat. But once we got down, I think we got a little too nervous. I mean, we committed 3 errors, one of our highest errors outing of the season. So those errors, man, I said it all year long. You can't go into playoff series, especially in the third round, committing these errors. One error could cost you 3 runs. You might not think about it, but eventually it will come around to 3 runs. So, those 3 errors basically was 3, 6, 9 runs. So, it was hard. It was hard. But hey, our girls during game 2 came back on Saturday. Was a very wet day that day. We all know if we all went, that was a very wet game. We jumped up on board right away on them again. We were the visitors. So in the second inning, we scored 6 runs in the second inning, which put them out. To me, there was like, this is it. We got this. We're going to take it. It's like, there's no way they're going to stop us at all. Sierra came out with the win, pitching 5 innings, giving up only 3 hits, only 1 run, striking out 6 and walking 2. From those 6 runs in the second inning, pretty well shut them down. I think a lot of it had to do with leadoff hitter Mikey Dominguez. What a way to start off the game. I mean, she hit a line drive to that pitcher that I think just basically took the pitcher out of the game. Not physically, but mentally, because a ball coming that hard straight at you, she's going to flinch after every swing that a batter's going to have from there on. So it was playing a mind game to her, and she threw quite a few wild pitches. She was walking people left and right, and it was just, we were just on. I mean, our bats were on; they were falling everywhere. Sierra, even on the offensive side, I mean, she's, we all talked about how Sierra gets motivated from getting that lead. I mean, that lead gave her off, positive side. It gave her positive, like going 2 for 2 on the offensive side, having 2 RBIs and a walk. Peyton Martinez also had a big game, going 2 for 4, scoring 3 runs, 2 RBIs, a walk, and a stolen base. Overall, we only had 7 hits, but only striking out 3 times, which, 3 times the first game, second 2 times the first game. I mean, that's pretty good. Only in 2 games, only striking out 5 times. And this game, we had 0 errors. It's crazy going from 3 errors, giving up 9 runs, to giving up 0 errors to only giving up 1 run. We won that game in a 10-run rule, 12-1. There was a rain delay going into the 5th inning or 4th inning. I don't remember what it was. I think that rain delay pretty well killed us. It hurt us bad. Our bats were going, our momentum was going. Once we ended that game, we came into that 3rd game. Not knowing, I mean, we were on a rain delay for what, Gabriel, I say about 2 hours, something like that. There was talks about what's going to happen. I started bringing out my my phone out with the UIO rules and what can happen and this and that. I mean, it was like, do we go back? Everybody was talking about going back to Beeville, and so it was a lot of. Then people started talking about, Boerne can win it all out just by forfeiting this game, which that was a lie there or whatever. But going into game 3 was this is it. This is the season. This is it. But man, it was a heartbreaker, that 3rd game. It was. We lost 11-6. Sierra took the loss, going 7 innings, giving up 16 hits, 11 runs, 6 strikeouts, and 3 walks. Their bats were on. When they get 16 hits, that's a team. I mean, their balls were falling everywhere. Everything was going their way. Like I said, that rain delay from Sierra having a game 2, just awesome game, to just that momentum changing, just everything just stopped. It was, it happens. It happens. We were down at one time right away, 5-0. Again, the visitor team, I think the visitor team had something every time. It seemed like the visitor team always took that huge lead. And every time they took that huge lead, the game was pretty much over. each game, 1, 2, and 3. So Boerne took that 5-0 lead at one time. But we didn't give up. We got it down to 5-3, and this is where I thought, this is it. We're getting going. We're finally getting going. But once we got that down to 5-3. Here we go. Top of the fourth inning. We give up 5 more runs to make it 10-3. That was hard. Hey, but we fought back. That was the thing. From the top of the fifth, we made it 10-6. So I was like, we're not going to give up. But came that 6th inning, came that 7th inning. It was hard to watch. It was very, very hard to watch. Elena Garcia went 2 for 3 that game. She was positive the whole entire game. Home runs were hitting like crazy. I mean, both teams were on bats. I mean, this is 2 of the greatest teams in the state going at each other. Maddie Mann having a home run, Krista Kutach having a home run. I mean, seeing these home runs, were like, we're in this, we got this. But they also had the bats going that game too. They had 3 that game themselves. So in that game, there were 5 home runs between the 2 teams, which is like, wow. But this is what you see in the 3rd round of the playoffs. So overall, the team, we had 9 hits. Again, the 3 errors came into effect huge in that game. But hey, it was a fun ride. These girls never gave up. I mean, it was hard to see it go by. That 6th, 7th inning was like, it has to happen. It has to happen. That it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. But overall, man, these girls came up with a 27-3 record. What a remarkable record. I mean, and 2 of those losses came, at the end of the season. So that's a record I think that's going to hold for a very, very long time. Especially in South Texas. We always have a South Texas team representing in the state tournament. This year we have Callan. So it shows you what South Texas ball is all about. It never fails. There's always a South Texas team in the state tournament. Boys, it's going to be sitting on Callan. They're going to be there. So it's a great district. So it's that 27-3 record is going to be a hard one to break. But the girls did outstanding throughout this whole season. Some of the stats that Gabriel was talking about that I was going to bring up. Now I'm only going to give out the leading stats. I will post the whole entire stats of each category on the comments underneath this video. So just to make I just want to show the girls where the girls stood and stuff like that throughout the whole season. But our leading hitter was Peyton Martinez, and Gabriel's going to talk about her later on. She had 43 hits to lead the team this year. That's wow. That's a lot of hits. That's what we played. 30 games, 27-3. That's 30 games. She had a hit at least every game. 30 games, have 43 hits. That's wow. The leading home run hitter this year was Maddie Mann. She came up with 8 home runs, and man, many of them were like perfect. I mean, like the perfect time for everything. Stolen bases. Again, Peyton Martinez, she led the team with 15 stolen bases. There was a little fight going on with the top 3 there for a while. RBIs. Maddie Mann came hard towards the end. She led the team with 47 RBIs. And with those 43 hits, you're going to have an awesome batting average. So of course, Peyton Martinez led the team with a batting average of .512. That's more than half the time she went up the bat, she got a hit. That's awesome. That is an awesome season right there. Which brings up to the point about the all districts. I mean, we had total 18 players get all these all district honors. That's crazy. Sierra Galvan took the trophy, took the whole thing. have, being the MVP of the district, making all academic, all district, and all state. Maddie Mann, offensive player of the year, another all academic, all district, all state also. Mikey Dominguez, defensive player of the year, another academic, all district, all state. Lydia Zavala, academic, all district, all state. When you have an MVP of the district and an offensive player and a defensive player, whew, that's one great team. I mean, that showed you what respect other teams had for us. Going into the first team all district, third baseman Kelsey Pulasic, a junior. Center fielder Peyton Martinez, first team all district, a junior. Second baseman Crystal Kutash, first team all district, a junior. DH hitter Piper Shearer, another first team all district, and a freshman. All these girls also all academic. Second team all district, first baseman Kimberly Gerloff, sophomore. Second team all district, right fielder Elena Garcia, sophomore. Left field Emma Grosclos, freshman. Again, all these girls all academic, all district. Honorable mention was outfielder Jordan Garza, a junior, also all academic. Infielder, honorable mention, Alyssa Rodriguez, a junior. And some other all academic people was pitcher Jordan Hall, a junior. Outfielder Paige Torres, junior. Infielder Astasia Rowe, sophomore. Infielder Carly Guy Gendo, sophomore. Pitcher Hannah Burney, freshman. These last two were managers, but they're also team players. Being on the team, they played on the JV level. Notice I say another, but all academic. Shows you what work these girls did, not only on the field but off the field. I mean, that's remarkable. I mean, it's like crazy. I mean, we had the most all academic in the whole district. That's a good, just rub it in everybody's face. It was great to just say that. Everybody thinks just sports, all academic, all district. Okay, these girls showed it off the field too. I mean, these girls were always at practice. They had meals, team dinners, going out of town, eating on the way back, long trips. I mean, tournaments in Sweeney. I mean, they're away from school, everything, home, on the road. I mean, these girls went all out, not only, not on the field, but in school. That's one thing I loved about this. I really emphasize the classification of each one of these girls. Shows you what kind of team we have coming back next year. Juniors, sophomore. I mean, all districts, first teams again. Wow. Not only whether we have all these girls coming back, the JV squad went 10-1, and their only loss was against Port Lavaca. So that shows you that Rockport's going to be around for a long time still. I have truth that we will make the playoffs next year. So that's a good incentive right there. It's like we not only have many returners coming back, we have a strong JV squad coming up too. And I know there's a few junior high girls out there that probably get on the freshman, that get on the varsity as a freshman too.
Yeah, Johnny, I've heard, I just started following the girls this year, right? So you definitely are the expert when following these girls, because you've been following them for years now, right? Especially these girls, the 4 seniors since they were freshmen. You kind of watched them in Little League and when they played and the whole story. And, when you talk about the work they do on the field and off the field in the classroom, right? It's like we've had them up here and they talk about that. The chemistry was the biggest thing for me with these girls, because they just had such a strong chemistry. We talked to the 2 freshmen on the team, and we talked about how the seniors were there for them, helping them with their game. They were always there if they needed any help, encouragement, or maybe they weren't hitting the ball or they were having some trouble throughout the season. The leadership that we had on this club this year was amazing. And they all connected. They were like a family. They even said that it's not like we're just playing. I mean, they hung out with each other. We asked them questions like, what do you do, when you're not playing sports? And, they're like, we're on the softball field. I mean, they couldn't really even, okay, we do this. This was what they did. This is what they enjoyed. And it was tough to watch this season against Boerne, that third game. I was right there in the dugout with Elena's dad, and he was just encouraging them. Willing enough to just continue. And I love that. And I got a close view of the girls and their facial reactions, and it was hard. Toward the end, a lot of their parents came down, but nothing to be ashamed about. These girls are, as I told them, we fell short of the expectation, but the season 27-3, 17-game win streak, district champs. There's nothing to be ashamed about, and I know these girls are not. And a lot of their success too comes, and we don't talk a lot about this, but their parents. The parents I saw too, just the support that they've got, not only from the parents, but the community. We were loud in that Lavernia second round, and then it went all the way over to Jordanton. I watched the fans, it was loud, and they stayed to the very end. And success for girls, also comes with what the parents, the support of their parents, who are willing to make the travel, or when they're off season and they're in another state, playing all year round softball, and having to be with them. It takes a lot to get to this point. And the support that these girls had from their parents too is something that, we didn't talk a lot about during the season, but you got to give a lot of credit to their parents. They were there for these girls, helping them, be successful in any way possible that they could help. To Coach Reyes and Coach Jeffries and Coach Garza, what an awesome job they did. Of course, again, we talk about they fell short, right? But just, I love the coaching as I got to see close up the way they coached. There wasn't no yelling, or they let these girls play. They wanted to have some fun. I think Coach Reyes knew these girls very well. Of course, the 4 seniors, she's had them for 4 years, right? But then the underclassmen, and putting them in a position to succeed. But what I liked was every game was just, it was calm. It was letting these girls come out and play and do their thing, and and just having the confidence that they knew what they were doing on the field. And you saw that. In that third game, 6 runs usually would be enough, right? But you give credit to Boerne. They had some hitters. Their leadoff hitter, we had heard from when we interviewed the girls, the seniors, and Maddie was talking about that girl. I think Maddie had probably gone to see him a game prior before we played him in the third round. And she said that girl is really good. Their leadoff hitter, right? The number 2, can't remember her name. And she was everything that Maddie said she'd be. She was hard to get up on the base. She got herself on base. And, Boerne was a really, really good team. And unfortunately, there has to be a team that takes the loss, and we did. But I enjoyed every minute of watching these girls getting into their games. And, one thing they fought, they were going to fight to the end. And in that third game, they fought until the very end. I mean, they never gave up. They were down 5-0. I know they were tired, but they kept fighting back. We got a couple of home runs. I think it was Crystal, I think, Kutash, that got a home run in that third game. I could be wrong on that. I know Maddie hit a home run. They were still fighting. And that's what you love about our team, is they were never out of it. And so it was a great season for our girls, for the 4 seniors. They're definitely going to be missed, Johnny. Their leadership and their play on the field, man, it was just awesome. But the success, I think, that you will see in the next few years, they'll have their handprint on it, these 4 girls, because they made it a point to help out the other girls, and then have to continue themselves to get their game on. And so now these juniors that are going to be seniors next year know they've been in the third round. They know what it's going to take to either get there again next year or go further. And I think we got some good leaders on this team coming back next year. We definitely got 2 freshmen that I think are going to play big next year for us, the sophomores. And then, of course, you got the sophomores and the juniors that are going to be back next year. So it was a great season. I think our girls will be back. We'll definitely be contending for another district title next year. And I think we'll make the playoffs. And the Pirates Cove will be right there again next year. We'll start early this year with them, coming on the podcast, inviting them back on, seeing what the off season holds. But where I sit now, I was a little hurt, when I came home. I said, man, if we just would have, we shouldn't have stopped. We should have just talked to Sierra. Was just on the road, right? Don't even give us a 30-minute or a break or whatever. Let's just go, or let it keep raining. Because it looked like the girls were prepared for the bad weather, because it was raining and they weren't missing the beat. But then a little bit of the momentum did come in. Again, you got to give credit to Boerne, because they were able to hit off a really good pitcher that we had. But sometimes the ball rolls that way, right? We'll be back next year, contending for district title, and definitely I think we'll be in the playoffs again next year. And of course, the Pirates Cove will be here to support them. And I love the season stats that you did, Johnny, this year. Just kind of letting the community know. We had different people. We had a freshman that was up there, Emma, pretty much the whole season. So the future looks bright for us, right? And our underclassmen and what they can do. I'm sure that they'll be working out this off season, getting ready for next season. We have two pitchers, I think, in Jordan Hall already on the team. Kimbo, I heard, is a pitcher. So we have two that they'll be coming back next year. I've heard through the grapevine, right, that there are some junior high girls that are looking really sharp. I didn't get to see them this year. There's been talk that there's a lot of talent down there in the junior high level coming up. And so I'm excited about that, to see what they're going to do. You talked about our JV. I think they won district. Did they not at 10-1? Or did Port Lavaca get district? Did Rockport win the district JV girls?
That I don't know.
Yeah. I know that they were 10-1. It was a great season. There's a lot of talent on that JV as well. They'll be up there moving some of those girls. So when you look at, what we've got coming back on the varsity for next year, when you look at what the JV did this year, there's a lot of talent on that JV team as well. What you hear about the talks of our junior high girls and what they're going to come up with, there's a lot of talent down there. It's exciting for Rockport softball. We're going to be in contention, it seems like, for the next couple of years. Probably be battling Sinton. Port Lavaca will be there. We'll see what Beaver comes up with next year and some of the other teams. But it's going to be another fun season next year. For the 4 seniors, those that are going to continue to play at the next level, we've got a podcast. I've talked to their parents. We want to continue to follow them, right? Maybe even get some interviews with them on that other podcast. The 365 Sports Unlimited covers softball, college softball. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on those girls to kind of see what they're doing at the next level. And every now and then when they've got time, we like to invite them back on to the Pirates Cove so they can tell our community here, what's going on at the next level and how well they're doing. So we're going to stay in touch with our athletes. We talked about that was one thing that the Pirates Cove was going to do, is that as they leave, not only in softball, but baseball, basketball, football, soccer, when they leave and play at the next level, we want to continue to stay in touch with them. We do got like I said, a podcast where we cover the college athletes, but then also bringing them back on the Pirates Cove and just interviewing them, letting them know what they're doing at the next level. It's interesting. So we'll definitely be inviting the girls back next year so that they can talk about their experience at the next level. But again, Johnny, great season for us, 27-3 district champs. And we'll continue to work hard to try to get there next year and possibly even get past the 3rd round. I did want to talk a little bit. You talked a lot about Peyton Martinez. She was great this year. I was able to talk to her dad a few times. I saw him while we were up there getting stuff together. And Maddie talked a little bit about Peyton as well, and just the type of player that she was. And she was great. You talked about what she did for the team this year. And I got I think it was like a text, a message from one of the parents. I kind of like to read out what they sent to me. It's kind of something regarding Peyton Martinez. So a Rockport-Fulton Lady Pirate, Peyton Martinez, had a great year this year. One of the best center fielders in the area, and was huge in the offense categories for our high school team. And you just kind of heard Johnny break down the stats. She has been contacted by some college softball programs that today she visited and worked out for her first 3 scheduled for this week. It went well, and they definitely want her. Exciting times for her. Rockport has a lot of young talent, and Peyton's journey shows that hard work does pay off. All you parents with softball girls that want to play college ball now see that your girl too can have this happen. And that's just, and I wanted to read that out, Johnny, because all of it is so true, right? Hard work pays off in the classroom and on the field. And these girls have put the time in, and look where it got them. And so we need to continue to work toward that. Like I said, the support's there from the community. We got great coaches here, and that's just, this was awesome for Peyton. She's a junior. She'll be a senior next year. And it looks like she's got a good opportunity to play at the next level. And if you haven't seen her play this year, remember the name Peyton Martinez. We've got a lot of other girls that are talented as well. Come on out and see them next year. It's exciting. These girls were exciting. I used to just read the paper, Johnny. I wouldn't really go out and see the girls. I learned a lot about softball this year from you and from other parents. And it was exciting to watch them. I couldn't wait till they played to go watch them. And you get on the podcast and interview them. So you get to watch them, but then you get to interview them, and you get to really know what they're all about. And this was a great bunch of girls, great leadership, and they talked a lot about their chemistry. And I think the chemistry had a lot to do with the success that they had this year. So once again, just wanted to read that out. A parent sent that to me, and congratulating Peyton on being able to go and possibly a good chance that she's going to be playing at the next level after graduation next year, and looking forward to seeing her and all the other girls. And so again, Johnny, we just kind of want to put some closure to this season. We'll do the same thing with baseball. Hopefully we can get Coach Tudio Elizondo on here shortly and about the next week or two and talk about the baseball program as well. They were able to make it to the first round of the playoffs. Still a very young team. I've talked about the baseball boys and how young they are, and they're pretty much all coming back next year. So it's exciting time. So we look forward to bringing Coach Elizondo back on, talking about the season, reflecting on the season and the off season, and talking about next year. And hopefully we can get back into the playoffs, possibly even win district. It'll be tough because Sinton will be there, and they're coming back with all of their guys. And Johnny talked about a big game tomorrow between the Cal Allen Wildcats and the Sinton Pirates. So just kind of want to mention that as well. Also, Johnny, Cal Allen will be playing tomorrow. The softball girls, they'll be playing against Iowa Park. You and I have talked about Iowa Park and how good that team is. So I think tomorrow's going to be really 2 good games with the softball Cal Allen Wildcats, the Wildcats, and against Iowa Park. And then, of course, our Waterbury Bill here in Corpus Christi going to have the number 1 ranked Cal Allen Wildcats going up against the number 2 Sinton Pirates. So we still got some good baseball and softball coming up. But for our girls, it was a great season, 27-3 district champs. And I'm definitely looking forward next year to continuing to follow our softball girls. So Johnny, I'll pass it over to you to see if you have anything else before we end this podcast.
No, but well, I don't know. This was a very interesting season. I remember when we did the football, the Pirates Cove took off from football, and it went dead. We didn't do no basketball. We didn't do no volleyball. I remember you talked to me about doing it for softball at the beginning, during the football season, and you asked me, should we do it? I was like, yeah, they're going to be pretty good, dude. They're going to be pretty good. Trust me, they're going to be pretty good. And I know when you asked me at the beginning of the softball season, I go, let's do it. Let's do it. And I knew the girls real good, I guess, growing up. But this podcast really, really put a showing of what these girls really are, who they are. So I got to know them really, really good, really personal. It was fun. I like this. And I'm hoping this next coming school year, we're going to continue doing this. I'm hoping that we get more kids out here as far as doing interviews, all the coaches. This is going to be a great coming up season. And I think the softball team pretty well built this Pirates Cove. So I think it's going to be a huge success. This team had made team history, school history for being 27-3. And I think the softball team also was the building block of Pirates Cove, and who knows how far this thing could go.
Well, Johnny, yeah, I agree. If you look at the program, we talked a couple of times about our program. I'm looking forward to covering the fall sports next year, which is football. You and I, with Tony, have talked about the things that we want to do next year. We want to continue to obviously follow next year, starting off with the football and volleyball team, right? And continue to get to know the volleyball coach, the football coaches. We know the football coaches pretty well. And being able to bring them on, those that want to interview with us, and then of course the players. There's more football players than there is softball girls and baseball boys, right? But getting them on the podcast, getting our community to know our players, and then following it up with our boys and girls basketball, and then going into soccer, and then of course baseball and softball. Now there's also tennis, and there's track, and we're working on seeing to cover that. We weren't able to cover that this year. Minimal coverage on the kids that went to state and track, but we want to do more than that. And then also, because our programs, because somebody asked me the other day, said, so, because the softball girls are so successful, so what if we have a team that isn't very good? Are you going to continue to cover them? And I said, absolutely. It's great when our teams are winning, but the Pirates Cove is here to support the athletes, right? So whether we win or we lose, it really doesn't matter. They're still putting the effort out there. If you win, it's good. But even if you're losing, even if we don't make the playoffs in one sport, even if we do not win district, they're still out there playing for this school, right? The alma mater. It's our alma mater, right? They're still putting the time, and that's what the Pirates Cove about. It's not, well, if you're winning, we're going to cover you, and if you don't win, we're not going to. That's not the way we work here. It's support. It's showing our community to get to know. I know many times I go down there and I watch a sport and I don't even know the kid, and I'm asking people around here, so who's this kid? Oh yeah, this is so-and-so, who's number 6, because there's no coverage on them. Bringing them on and interviewing them allows the community to get to know them. Some of the questions that we asked is about them, not just about the game, but about them. What are they like? Getting to know them. And some of them come on more than once on the podcast, right? But it's exciting. The podcast, it's exciting to be able to cover the sports here at Rockport and being able to just get to know our players. And I can see from next year, Johnny, real quick, that our football team, they went to the second round last year. So they've got a lot of people coming back next year. So it's exciting to see what our football team is going to do this upcoming year. I know I see you at Friday nights out there. I'm out there. Tony's out there. Our volleyball girls, they've been in the playoffs here for the last couple of years. I think they went into the second round last year, but they've been in the playoffs for the last 3 to 4 years, a couple of rounds. We saw what our basketball girls did last year, with district champs and that big win streak that they got on. And they're all pretty much coming back next year. So it's exciting to see what our girls basketball team will do this year. Our boys didn't quite have the season this year. It was a young team, but the past couple of years, these guys have won they've been district champs. They've been in the playoffs, 2, 3 rounds. So, I anticipate that most of the boys are going to come back and our basketball season is going to rebound and they're going to have a great season. We talk about our soccer boys and girls. I hear a lot about our soccer girls, Johnny. They went to the second round. They're very young. I looked at the people that are coming back, a lot of sophomores. So they got a program that's up and coming. Our boys made the playoffs. They should be back there next year. And then of course we saw and talked about what our softball girls did this year and our baseball team. So it's exciting. Look at where we went with track, went to state, George, representing Rockport, and Mikey, what she did. We talk about how, Mikey does it on the academic, you're playing softball and doing track, but they enjoy it. They have a passion for it, right? So we were successful in so many areas and looking forward to being able to cover our athletes that are coming back next year. Maybe getting a little bit more involved with our JV and freshmen. We can't bring them to interview them, right? But just talk about their games on the podcast, letting the community know what's up and coming. Also, we didn't do that this year, but we're looking forward to talking about our JV and freshman team, and then maybe trying to get in there and see what our junior high is doing, because this is the future, right? These are the guys that are coming up. So we've got some great athletes in the junior high level, freshman and JV. So we definitely want to talk about them next year. Also, bringing in the varsity athletes to be able to come in and interview with us. So what you saw the Pirates Cove do this year for the softball girls and the baseball boys, we're going to continue to do it next year.
I wonder where you got that idea.
What's that?
Interviewing the students.
Do you know how I got it?
I don't know.
It's just, I'm going to be honest with you, Johnny, it just, when I started, we didn't know, right? We did football. It was a trial run last year for us. We would just kind of, let's just throw it together. We really didn't put a lot of thought into it, right? We would just, okay, let's just do this, see how it goes. And I looked at some of the stuff we could improve on. And then I knew you knew the softball girls. And I said, let's just do it. And it picked up, right? And I started to like, I said, hey man, I like this, coming out here. I started talking to some parents, got some other girls. And, I spent a lot of time and I think, how can I better this podcast? And the thing I always think about is, what can I do that isn't being done already that I think that our community would like? And so I jot things down. I look at other podcasts and what they're doing, and I think, okay, this is good. Things that I like from a podcast. And I didn't see anybody interviewing. People were streaming, people were, talking, and I liked what they were doing and stuff. But I didn't see anybody like interviewing the athletes. And I thought, well, they're the ones playing. Why not, interview them? I mean, I'm sure that it would be good publicity for the girls. Who wouldn't like that? And then I thought, my son played football. And my daughter was a cheerleader. I said, if somebody came to me in town and said, hey, I'd like to interview your son for football, and I thought it was going to be no harm, I said, sure, I'd be excited, because it would give him publicity, especially if he was going to the next level, right? Because you never know who's going to watch it. And so I just jot down things constantly. I'll spend 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes. Sometimes on the weekend, I'll spend 8 to 10 hours a day just trying to see how I can better this podcast. And one of the things when I was reviewing, because I wrote it down and really didn't pay attention to it for about a week or two. I just wrote it down and then started thinking, and I just kept back. I said, interview. And I thought, interview the coaches, interview the players. I said, well, this is how we're going to do it. And I started putting some thought into it. I can do it this way. Can get a hold of some parents. And I knew that I had you on the podcast. So I knew that Johnny would help me contact some of these parents. And, we got Sierra and Mikey on first, and it was a good interview. We enjoyed it. They enjoyed it. And I looked back and I watched it and I thought, wow, the girls really liked it. So let's bring Maddie and Lydia on. And then it just kind of went from there. So it's just basically looking at other podcasts, seeing what is not being done, and then adding that to our podcast to make it better. At the end of the day, it's just about how can we bring the community together to support our athletes here at Rockport. And I still got another long list of things to do, So yeah, it's just certain things, and I'm seeing other people starting to pick it up now. Other people are starting to say, "Hey, man, this is pretty neat." I mean, the community gets behind it, so you know what? Why not us do it?
I saw that.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to tell you something else, Johnny. I think it's good. I think podcast is good. Somebody asked me, is there rivals? And I said, look, it's all good. If we can get with another podcast and just kind of, support our teams, that they're going to support their team. We're going to support ours. I think it's all in fun. We're not here to belittle anybody. Our team's out, right? So what do? We support Sinton in Cal Allen because they're in our region, right? So, it's going to be a good game. I'm pushing for Sinton, obviously, in baseball against Cal Allen because, Sinton was in our district. I want to see those boys. And I've always said they have great coaching out there. So I'd like to see them win a state title. It's not well, we didn't get there. We don't want to see another team. We support the teams that are in our district if they're still in. We support our teams that are in the region if they're in, right? And we hope that if Rockport, gets like that they'll support us as well. So there's no bad blood. There's fun competition. We don't belittle anybody else here at the Pirates Cove, our coaches, our players. It's all about support and just wanting to gather as much of the community as we can, Johnny, to be able to support our athletes. And I think it gives them, when you were playing football, if they had a podcast back in the day, right, and you could see all these people, how would that excite you, right? or would you come on the podcast so that the community get to know who you were, the position that you played, the hard work that you put in? It was really a no-brainer, the community to get behind it. And who won't support our athletes, right? So it's great. I just sit down and just come up with things that I can do to better our podcast. And I think this interviewing stuff is going to catch on, though. I think other schools will start to do it. I would do it if I wasn't doing it and I had the time, because it brings the community together, right? It's one way to bring the community together. And we want to pack the stands every time we can, pack the gym for our volleyball and basketball games, pack, the stands for football and soccer and softball and baseball. Man, it's exciting, So I think you and I are going to start doing some different things with Tony. We've been talking about. I don't want to kind of say what we're going to do, but I think people are going to be surprised at what we're going to be doing next year. But it's all, Johnny, to support our athletes here at Rockport-Fulton. So once again, I want to thank you for being my co-host, right? My sidekick here. I had a lot of fun. I know you had a lot of fun covering our athletes during our spring sports, and we're definitely looking forward to our fall sports. And then there's just 7-on-7, Johnny, that's going on. So, I'm trying to get some information on that. I want to cover that. Our boys, maybe even have some of our 7-on-7 boys coming on the podcast to interview. But we've got a lot of things going on. You and I have talked about what we're doing. I think hopefully people are going to be excited. We're working very hard behind the scenes to get a lot of things done. So hopefully people will enjoy it, and we continue to build here on the Pirates Cove. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. So as long as they don't run me out of town, man, we're going to continue to do this. I know you and I have talked, and Tony and all three of us are in it to better this program and continue to do what we did this year. So it's a lot of fun, man. So is there anything else you want to add?
No.
All right. So once again, we just kind of wanted to, this is episode 15 of the Pirates Cove. We just kind of wanted to come on this evening and put some closure to the season. It was just great. I enjoyed every bit of it and looking forward to continuing this next upcoming year. That doesn't mean that the Pirates Cove, you won't be hearing from us until August, but we're going to continue to come on Wednesdays, talk about different things, Johnny and I. There's still a lot to talk about. So you're still going to see us on Wednesday, but once sports resume again with football and volleyball, the Pirates Cove will be there, getting to know the coaches and trying to get interviews with our football and volleyball, and just go down the list as the sports continue next year. So it's a lot of fun, Johnny, man. Thank you. I'll see you next week. I'll send you a text as to some of the things that we'll be talking about on next week's podcast. We definitely want to invite our other person that is on the Pirates Cove with us, Tony. I call him Big T, right? We want to get him back next week and start talking about other sports, football in particular, because it's just around the corner. So hopefully we can get him back on next week, and we can start preparing for the upcoming season. But until then, like we always do here on the Pirates Cove, man. Oh, Johnny, by the way, did you like the cap?
That's why I took it off. I was like, I'm gonna remember.
Yeah, the Pirates.
Pretty nice.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's another thing that we got going on. We did some designs. So it had to be, charcoal gray, green. It's definitely Rockport's color. Where the green is white and black. So I kind of told the guy that does the designs, hey, listen, this is. He kind of sent me some things. No. And then when he showed me the cap, I kind of told him what I wanted. They designed it really well. So we still have some. We kind of just want to give some out, advertise it. Tony has one. We've given a couple others. I still got some others that I have to give away that I haven't had a chance to talk to the people that I'm gonna be giving it to. But we also got another one in the works to design. It's a visor. Pretty much the same color. It's just a visor. It's going to be really good. So there's going to be merchandise that's also going to be coming out. I'm really excited about this cap that came out. I didn't know how it was going to come out. It's the first time doing it, but we're definitely looking to set the design up for the visors. And then we've got our first shirt. Should be out before spring sports starts. So this cap, a visor coming soon, and then a shirt that we're designing for the Pirates Cove. It's just exciting time for us. We're still moving a little slow, but we're getting there. So it's just exciting. I kind of wanted to mention our caps And if you like it, you can contact myself, Johnny, Tony. There's an email that goes out. Got the guys' emails. If you don't, we don't give out the numbers unless you know Johnny or Tony personally. But I do put their emails out on the podcast, so you can reach them that way if you're interested with any of the merchandise the Pirates Cove have. So just kind of want to throw that out there, Johnny. Really excited about our caps. I wear it just about everywhere except work because they don't let me wear it at work. But outside, when I get out of work, I got in my car and I put it right back on. The only time that I'm not wearing this when I'm sleeping in the shower or I'm at work. Other than that, I have it on my head. I ain't got that much hair anyway, or no hair at all. So the cap helps me out a lot. But we're excited about where we're going with the Pirates Cove, and we're going to continue to improve and get better. So until next Wednesday, Johnny, as we always do here on the Pirates Cove, man. Peace out, brother, and I will see you next Wednesday.